Ready? This is going to be the first in a series on some 10 mil modern. Um, with Iron Fist Publishing and Plastic Soldier Company coming out with the rules for Northag, which is Cold War gone hot in the 1980s. And in the miniatures they're coming out with for Plastic Soldier Company are 10 mil. So I'm doing up some Soviets right now, and hopefully I will have some British when the pre-orders. I think they go live on the 18th of this month, October. So what I'm doing right now is painting up a T-72 tank company. I've got some of my guys, a couple of them test miniatures I've painted up already, and I like how they are. They're really easy to paint because I have to paint a lot of Soviet stuff. So I thought I would keep the paint jobs pretty simple. I was thinking about getting decals, but I was like, you know what, I'll just hand paint on some numbers, symbols, letters. So I'm keeping it really simple. So what I did to start off with, I primed them all black, matte black, and in Canada we have, let's see if I can get this into focus. Now let's get this camo paint. And I believe Krylon makes the same exact color of a dark army green. And that's what I used to prime. After the black primer, I put that, like, a base coat of that color on. And then what I did was I used some Nuln Oil from Games Workshop, black wash. Any kind of black wash. You can use the Vallejo black wash or whoever's black wash, Army Painters. You know, it doesn't really matter. And what I did was take the turrets off. Gave it a really good generous coat of the black wash. Let's get this over here. Oh, I must have some water still in the brush. Okay, there we go. That works. So I gave it a really good coat of the black wash. I'm still setting up the camera area, so I'm not happy with where this camera is right now. I'm probably going to get a mount for an arm, a swing arm, and mount it on that. But for right now, this is what I got. So yeah, so what I did is I just black washed the whole tank, including the turret. The tracks, everything. I just did the whole model in a black wash. I put it on pretty with it quite a bit, so that it got into all the recesses. And for those who are going to ask, these are 3D printed, and they are 10 mil scale, so 1/144th scale. I know some companies their 10 mil is a different scale. I found that out, which is, you know, same with companies that have 28 mil, and it now looks like 32 mil, and yeah. So anyways, so I did a really good generous coat of black wash on them. Hopefully that's coming into focus. So I'll just move that over. Okay, so then they come out like this. Put this back on. Wash the brush out. Okay, so at this stage, what I did was I was like, I could dry brush it, but with 3D prints on an FDM printer, you do have layer lines. So instead of, you know, I've learned with 3D prints that you're still gonna get the layer lines unless you're using a resin bath printer. So I try to hide them as much as possible in how I paint. And so I put on a fairly thick coat of primer, and I usually use a sandable primer, and that helps because it'll fill in some layer lines. But with something that I noticed with these 10 mil scale miniatures is, well, they are so small that it is hard to fill those lines. So what I decided to do, okay, the next color I'm going to use is Wog Flesh, which is a Citadel Games Workshop colors. Most of the colors I'm using right now are easy to access colors that most game stores or small hobby stores are going to have. I usually use Vallejo. I have a lot of Vallejo. But I've learned that people come to me and go, oh, what Games Workshop color is that? So I've started collecting some Games Workshop colors, and I use those because it is easier for people that are just starting out. And if somebody is starting out with modern, this would work for anything from 28 mil down, this paint job. Because most of the Russian stuff in the 1980s, it wasn't camouflaged. It was standard green. So I use that green spray paint as a base color. And then what I do is I pick out all the high areas with this green, the Wog green. And I just pick those high areas out at first. Try to do this real quick. This paint scheme doesn't take that long usually, but because it's a little awkward because of where the camera is, it might take me a little longer than it usually does. Okay, and hopefully this is coming out in focus. And I'm still having some of the green and black wash showing through, so trying not to cover it all or just make it a thin coat, and I'm just trying to get all the high areas. Move it over here a little bit. Hopefully that's coming out. I'm just going to show you guys too. I'm trying to make this like not a long video because I don't want to record the whole painting session. I just want to show you guys how you can do a quick, easy Russian paint job. And I think you could do this with pretty much any scale. You're picking out the high areas, and you could I guess dry brush and do this technique on certain models, but I'm finding that I can, if I pick out these spots, it just looks so much better that I'm picking out the high details, the points that are sticking out. And I weather the models too, so I'll be showing and talking about that too. You'll have to excuse me, I've had a cold for a little while. So okay, so on this I pick out, like I said, I just pick out the high areas, and I don't do the bogey wheels. I just leave them the way they are because I'm gonna mud them up and I'm gonna make them look a little bit more worn and weathered. And I find that leaving it like that, there's the black around the wheels, so you get the rubber, so that it stands out. So, and you don't have to be too accurate or nice with this. At 10 mil, the detail's there, but if somebody's, you know, like looking that close and seeing if you got that bolt painted the right color and stuff, I think it's kind of ridiculous, especially at 10 mil. Same with 1/300 scale. Okay, so I'm just gonna okay. So there's the tank hull. So let's move this one out of the way here while that washes dry. And I usually batch paint, but I thought I would show you guys on this unit how I do it. I get all these hatches. Just get all the optics and everything, the searchlight. Get the paint in there. This is the longest part of painting, is just doing this green. And like I said, I don't do it neatly. Because after I weather it, it gets all dusty and dirty and if I go out of camera, guys, I apologize. It's just I'm not used to painting at this angle. I'll be changing the angle on the camera and where it's positioned for the next video. And I kind of leave the barrel rings for the fume extractor and stuff like that, the darker green. And then once I get towards the end of the barrel, I start leaving a little bit more blackened. Okay, so that's where they are at this stage. So I'm just going to wash up this brush. Okay, the next color I picked, and it's only on 2 small items, and that is a Laurentian forest. Let's see if that gets into focus. Oh, kind of dark. Well, so much for that. But that's what color I'm using. Well, we're using this video as a test for cameras, and I can already tell that I'm a little bit dark in this area, so I'm going to have to light it up a little bit better. But anyways, so what I use this color for is around the mantle or mantlet for the T72 here. There's some cloth. It's almost like a bag. And what I use this color for around there just to show a difference in color. And then what I also did was for this part back here, which I believe is a snorkel, I used that color too as well. So just a change of greens. Okay, now for the tracks, another color from Games Workshop, Mournfang Brown. So it's kind of a rusty reddish brown almost. And then what I use that color for is pretty simple. I use it for the tracks. So let's see if I can get this there. use that for the tracks. And I do a little bit of splash onto the, just a little bit, onto the wheels, onto the bogey wheels, and up the slide of the tank. Just so it looks like mud's been thrown. And then I take, shake this paint up a little bit more. Like I said, I'm keeping this paint job pretty simple. So then I kind of just splash it up the back. And then I start on the other side of the track. Okay, I just do a little bit. It's a little too much right there, so I'm wipe it off a little bit. Okay, that's simple. There's the tracks and a little bit of mud. Done. Okay, now the next thing I do is I usually, I'm gonna see if I can bring it in. I've been making up, like, here, let's use this command tank. Let's see if I can. Doesn't want to autofocus. Let's see. Let's turn the autofocus off. We'll see if this works. Once again, guys, sorry about this. Let's see. Well, that's just not working at all. So, I don't want to delay this too much. Basically, I've painted on a letter A and a 1. And I've done the same on this basket at the back. Plus I put a little white dot with a little tiny red star on the Searchlight cover. Okay, so I'm not going to probably do that with all of them, but you know, I kind of wanted to something to make it stand out as Russian. So I put a little red star there. But what I did at this point, because this paint is not dry and the washes aren't dry, I painted those on. And you can get decals. Decals are fine. I just don't have any decals that small, and I wasn't really wanting to spend out that kind of money on decals. So after I did that, what I do is I take some Zandri Dust, which is another Citadel color, and I very lightly dry brushed the entire bottle, even over parts of the numbers, but very lightly. And then once I had done that, I took a little bit of Agrax Earthshade and I put a little bit in on the engine deck and a little bit on top of the numbers that I had painted, just a little bit, thin coat of it. But at that point, that's where I stopped. The models are done. I think it's a very simple paint scheme. Like I said, minimal colors. You know, you've got two washes, 4, 5, and basically 6 colors of paint. And I used Citadel Blood Angels Red and some Skull White. That's simple. Like, it's very easy to paint up huge armies of Russian stuff. It'll get tedious because it's the same thing, but at 10 millimeter, even 15 millimeter, it's not that bad. Micro Armor would be even faster. So, but that's how I'm painting up my 10 mil Russians right now. I'll do something different for the British when the British come out. I might airbrush. I'm not sure yet. I've got my airbrush boxed up here. I haven't unpacked it yet from our move, but I'm looking at maybe airbrushing it. But even that camouflage with a brush wouldn't be that hard. So I'm going to call it here, but I will be doing other videos, and I will be improving the quality of the videos. I'm really getting annoyed that the focus seems out. Oh, there, now it works. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, this is also a test for my cameras and stuff like that. You know, I'm gonna have to get better lighting. It looks like great lighting when I'm painting, but in the video it looks quite dark. So I might have to play around with the white balance and the lighting in here and see what we can do. Oh, that changed quite a bit. Now you can see those numbers and letters on the sides of the turrets. They're not the best. They're freehand, but when you're standing above the battlefield, as long as you can tell which ones are which, and it looks fairly decent, I think that's the important part. Yeah, with some of the tanks, you can really see the 3D print lines. I'll have to coat them with a little bit thicker primer next time. But guys, comments below, like, subscribe. There's more videos to come, and they will improve. I've got brand new cameras and stuff. It's just getting my setup going, and it also could be that my PC died this afternoon. So I'm using an old laptop, so maybe these cameras and this laptop are not working as well as they should. But I'm going to let you guys go. There's more modern stuff on Mondays. I'm going to be trying to do, if I can't record it on Monday, it'll be pre-recorded to be released on Monday. So we're going to call it Modern Monday, and it will be anything modern. So anything World War II I'm considering, and up I'm considering modern, because we got modern jets and stuff coming in during World War II and stuff like that. I know some people, they think it's after Korea. That's fine. But I do a lot of World War II as well, so I thought, this is a good way to showcase some of the work and get my butt in gear to paint some of my World War II and beyond, because I've got lots of stuff to paint. So Mondays now will be Modern Mondays. I will be doing those either pre-recorded or on Mondays. So I will say goodbye for now, guys, and have a great day.